Good morning, everyone. This is Pauline Chung, your Director of Communications and Marketing with the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce. Today's Business Essential, we are featuring Ginelle Curincita, and she is the Community Development Officer at Working Solutions. She's grew up locally here, right in Redwood City. She speaks Spanish and English, so bilingual. Her career has focused around access and inclusion, providing direct one-to-one services to the community. So with Working Solutions, she's going to describe all the benefits she provides in providing small loans or loans to the small businesses in the San Francisco Bay Area. So I ask that you stay muted. I am recording this. We'll place this on the Chamber's YouTube channel afterwards, but I'll hand it over to Ginelle. You can put your questions in the chat and we'll get to them towards the end. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for taking the time to be here this morning and to participate. I'm very excited to be able to reach you all through Zoom and be able to share this information that I am hoping is very helpful for you and hopefully your community and other people in your networks that you can share this information with. My presentation is now up and should be, you should be able to see it on your end. I'll be focusing a little bit today about sharing information. There's a lot going on right now with COVID. There's a lot of resources out there. I'm hoping to just be able to provide you with some additional information in regards to how to access some additional capital that you may otherwise not know about. Sometimes we think about the big banks as our first thought. Of course, right now, we know the SBA has the Emergency Disaster Relief Program, and also there's the PPP loans available, but it's also, the reality is that not everyone has been able to access those. Not everyone has been able to have as much support as they would have liked. And so my goal today is just to be able to bring you another option and another resource. We are a community lender. And we're also an SBA approved and preferred lender. And what that means is just we are on their list of community lenders as someone that you can trust. We're on their website in their lending search portal. And so that's another resource that I'll share with you in a little bit. But Working Solutions is based out of San Francisco. That's where our headquarters are, but we do serve the entire Bay Area. As Pauline mentioned, I grew up in Redwood City, so the peninsula is home for me. And I am bilingual. I do speak Spanish, and so I'm happy to work with anyone else on a one-on-one or provide any presentations to any smaller, say, associations or any other communities that you all are a part of. Please reach out. I'm more than happy to do that as well. So I will go over to the next slide. So today I'll tell you a little bit about us. I will talk about some capital and the consulting that we're offering. And then we'll share a little bit about our COVID response and how we are supporting small businesses. And then I'll leave some room for questions and answers at the end that you can either unmute yourself or provide in the chat and we can answer them that way. So Working Solutions is the first to believe in small business. And the reason why we say that is because for the most part, to be able to borrow money from from a bank or other types of financial institutions, you can't be a startup. You'll need collateral. You have to be able to show that you have other things in order to, be able to have a financial institution take that risk. For us, because we are a community lender, because we have we're mission driven. And what that means is that we're here to support small businesses. We're here to support entrepreneurs that want to start a new business that otherwise wouldn't have access to funds. We want to make sure that people's communities are strong, that their families' financials are strong, that they're able to pass on those legacies. And so with that said, We're part of a community of development financial institutions. There are lots of us out there, so feel free to do a Google search. We're not the only one, not here in the Bay Area. There are plenty of us. Our goal is to provide affordable capital and customize business consulting and community connections to underserved entrepreneurs. So we know that it's really hard being a small business owner. You wear many, many, many hats. And so our goal is just to make sure that you don't fall prey to predatory lending that's out there, that you don't eat up all of your personal savings, that you don't rack up credit card debt because you don't think that there's any other way to make your passion into profit. And so that's really why we are here. We serve the small businesses here in the Bay Area, like I said. Although we don't serve outside of our 9 Bay Area counties, there are plenty of CDFIs that do, and I'm happy to connect you to our partners at those organizations, because there are definitely resources that are available. And I wouldn't want anyone in Sacramento or further south to think, okay, you know, there's nothing for us. There's absolutely plenty of resources. And we're very collaborative community, and so there's a lot of referrals going back and forth. We're very unique in that we serve startup businesses. Most of our CDFIs usually want a business to have at least 1 year out, and for us, we'll work with startups, and so that's kind of one of the things that makes us really unique. And like I mentioned before, we're an SBA preferred microlender. Our microloans are as small as 5,000 and as large as 50,000. There are definitely different requirements that we'll ask as far as required documents for a $5,000 loan versus a $50,000 loan. And I'll go over that information a little bit later, so you'll have a better sense as to what that looks like. We also have an emergency recovery loan program right now during COVID. We really were able to respond as quickly as possible. We are very fortunate and have a lot of different institutions and banks that actually have given us grants to be able to then extend out to members of the community. And then we also are able to provide all of our loan participants with free business consulting. And that's for the entire term of the loan. So it's not just, you know, a one-time thing. It's definitely for the entire 3 to 5 years of the term of the loan. And the goal is really that we not just give you money and say, here you go, hope that helps, but also to say, let's help you be sustainable over time. Let's connect you to different people. We have a large network of advisors. We have in-house advisors, and then we have a large network of advisors that are there to help with anything from, you know, changing from a sole proprietor to an LLC to someone who can help with marketing, or you know, and it gets very specific. So we really do a matching process to be able to make sure a business owner is connected to a consultant that is very specifically gonna, you know, meet that need and has the expertise around, you know, X thing in marketing, not just kind of a sales and marketing consultant, but somebody that particularly can solve, you know, whatever question it is that you may have. So that's something that's very, very important to us. And then as far as community, we, you know, make sure to connect our entrepreneurs together. On our website, we have pretty much a list of all of our business owners, past and present. And so if any of them or any of you want to support small businesses in your area, and you want to see who has, you know, potentially gotten a loan from us in the past, you can go on there and see it by different types of industry. So I encourage you to do that. And that's one of the ways that we support each other. So an overview of our microloans, like I mentioned, the maximum amount is up to 50,000. Our loan terms are a 5-year loan term. We have safe and affordable interest rates. Right now, our interest rate is a 5% interest rate for our microloan. We don't need a particular credit score. So like a financial institution and a bank, they have to follow very, very, very strict guidelines. For us, it's very different. We are actually trying to help business owners build their credit, not only their personal credit, but their business credit. And so for us, we don't need a minimum credit score. Of course, we want to make sure that you haven't had a bankruptcy in the last 2 years, and we want to make sure that nothing is in collections. But for example, we will work very closely with people who may have fallen behind on some payments, or who, for example, may have something in collections, but have established a payment plan and are paying that back. So we want to just see responsible borrowing behavior, but not necessarily like the perfect profile. And so please don't have that discourage you if that's something that is common or has happened for you. I'm definitely happy to talk with you more about that, and we can go into specifics as to what kind of documentation we'll need, but it's certainly not a problem for us. Again, we're trying to help a business owner get the best credit possible over time to then be able to go to a bank who we know, yes, has stricter eligibility criteria, but will eventually give you the lowest rate possible. And that's what we want, right? Eventually for you to be able to access those funds at much larger amounts so that you can scale and grow. So we don't have a minimum revenue required, or we don't need collateral, for example, like I mentioned earlier. Our emergency recovery loan product really is a response to COVID and to what's happening. We know a lot of businesses have been impacted. Some have been closed, completely. And so this loan product is really just a response to that and hoping to really support people here in the Bay Area to access funds and help them stay afloat during this time. So you'll see here some of the terms, very similar in many ways to our, previous loan product. But the key highlight is that it's a 5% fixed interest rate. And it's also, there's no prepayment penalty. So say you borrow the money now, things completely change in a couple of months, there's no penalty for paying it all back. It may be that you get an SBA loan and then you'd like to pay this one back in the future. There's no prepayment penalty. So we're more than happy to work with you so that it can be working capital in the meantime. And then as things get better, then absolutely you can pay it back. Or say you have a loan with us, you've paid back 25,000 of the 50, and now you'd like to borrow the other 25,000 because you have other, needs in your business. You can take out a second loan for that remaining 25,000. So we never will lend one person more than 50,000, but we will lend multiple times to any one person. So we definitely have business owners that have come back for a second and a third loan, who've paid off a loan completely and come back. And so we're definitely happy to do that. And it certainly, speaks volumes, right, to the fact that people do come back and are here to receive not only just the capital, but also the consulting, and that's proven to help them long term. So some of the required documents, one of the tips that I always suggest is that I always try to encourage people to be loan ready. And what loan ready means is that you want to be able to have your documents ready beforehand. So if you say submit an application, and this is with any lender, but you don't have your documents, your application will have an expiration date because we pull your credit. We do a hard pull. And so if we don't get your documents until 4 months down the line, because maybe you haven't filed your tax returns, or maybe in some cases, I've worked with clients where things are in storage and they don't really know where it is, and it just takes them a while. Unfortunately, you'll have to reapply and start all over again. So one of the biggest things that I encourage is make sure that you have your documents ready. Here's a list of the documents, for example, for a $50,000 loan. You need, of course, and all of this is electronic. So our process is completely electronically, even prior to COVID, from the beginning, starting from, your application all the way to the end, when we direct deposit the loan amount into an account of your choice. You'll give us an account number and a routing number. So the whole process is all, you sign electronically, you meet over the phone with us to go over the loan docs. All of it is kind of done via email and phone. And so what I always recommend is, as far as these documents, I suggest that you have them saved electronically on a computer where you can easily access them. So once you submit an application, we actually don't ask you to submit these via email. We ask you to send them to us through a secure portal. We actually send you a box.com link to a cloud where you're able to directly upload, these documents to us. And that way there's no way that any of this confidential information can get into somebody else's hands except ours. And so you'll need a driver's license, for example, 3 bank statements, your personal bank statements, and then also of your business. Of course, if it's a startup, then we wouldn't need business bank statements. But if you're an existing business, then we would need those 2. And then your 2 most recent personal tax returns, pay stub if you have other forms of income, and a personal financial statement. So a lot of these documents, I'm going to go to the next slide. This one's got a lot of information and I really wanted to put it in here, and I know it's a lot, but again, if you were to apply, I would give you access to this list beforehand so that you can really prepare. But the goal of this is just for you to be able to see the difference. What we do is we will ask for additional documents based on the loan amount. So for a $5,000 loan, you're only going to provide us with a 1 bank statement, for example, right? Where for a $50,000 loan, we're going to ask you for additional bank statements, additional years of tax returns. And so that also helps you to know that if there's certain documents that you don't have, it's okay. You don't have to not apply, but you can still apply for a smaller dollar amount, and then we'd still be able to help you. 6 months after you get a loan with us, you can always reapply for the additional amount. So, it wouldn't stop you, but say 6 months later, you'll have all your documents, your tax returns done, and then you can reapply for the difference if you need additional capital, of course. So for all of these documents, say, for example, we need a business plan, or we need a P&L statement, for example. We'll provide you with some templates. So we have templates available, and it gives you a sense, not only does it give you an option of a template that you can use if you don't already have one of those documents, but it also gives you a sense that, for example, a business plan, we don't need something super long and elaborate, right? You can kind of get a census to our template and see if that fits based on what you already have. Or it may encourage you to move forward because you'll see it's not that long and it won't take that much. So here are some of the documents, and I just wanted to kind of break them up. Again, it's a lot of information on this particular document, but I still wanted to make sure to kind of give everybody a little bit of a sense, and really just emphasize that depending on the loan amount, there may be more or less documents that would be required. So for us, I just wanted to share a little bit about how we've been able to respond in regards to COVID. So for our current loan clients, we've been able to do a lot of proactive research and just really making sure that they're doing okay, and that if they needed any resources or consulting, that we could provide them that during COVID, as well as payment deferments. Unlike currently, like most financial institutions, there are definitely deferment options out there, and we have extended those to our clients as well, to just really help them during this time, as well as providing kind of personal advice and resources on how really to access and support their liquidity. We have clients that, like I said earlier, are completely closed, and others actually that are doing really well. There are definitely some businesses out there that are doing really well right now, whatever their industry or their resource or their business. The need is high, on certain businesses. And so with that said, there's definitely a spectrum of needs across our portfolio. And so we're making sure to meet those needs. We have an up-to-date resource guide on our website that's available for free to anyone. It's getting updated by by our communications team. It seems like minute by minute, because there are resources that are coming up from all over the place all the time. So I encourage you to look those up. We have a calendar based on webinars, but then we also have it broken down between grant opportunities and also by county. So feel free to check that out. It's on our main website at workingsolutions.org. We also have a lot of public entity partners that have come to us and said, a lot of cities, for example, that have said we want to administer, $5,000 grants to small businesses meeting these criteria in our community, in our local city. And so we've been able to support a lot of partners here in the Bay Area to really extend out that grant fund to small business owners. I wanted to focus a little bit too on our business consulting. I mentioned it a little bit before, but I wanted to also just give you a little bit of an overview, and I'm conscious of time. It's 10:22. But for the most part, what I will say is that we do consulting before our loan, and that we're guiding our business owners to really understand the loan ready process. And then afterward, like I mentioned, not only is it for the entire 3 to 5 years of the term of the loan, but we focus on a couple of different things during the first year. So during the first year, we will have intentional quarterly meetings to focus on things like financial planning, or how do you plan for risk management, right? Especially in these times, it's something that we've always focused on, gratefully, because now it's come in handy for a lot of our business owners. But we focus on, these different aspects that we have come up with thinking, these are the things that commonly come up. We want to be proactive with our business owners. So we meet with them quarterly for the first year. And then after that, for the consecutive years after that, they can reach out to us and say, we'd like to work with someone very specifically on financial planning. Can you connect me with someone? Or to price, to do price, analysis on my products. And so again, huge part of what comes with a working solutions loan as well. Here's some impact data. I think it's amazing to be able to see, that we have a 95% repayment rate. There's a lot of hesitation, I think, in the financial world to lend to startups, for example, or early stage businesses. And we want to say, we have 95% of our business owners who have repaid their loans. 85% of them are making it after 5 years, and that's a huge accomplishment. And it's hard to do, but we really do think that with the combination of accessing capital and consulting, it's very, very much possible. Also, just to highlight that our average loan size is about $25,000. Although we lend up to 50, that tends to be the average loan size that people are requesting. So yeah, just wanted to show you a little bit more about kind of our loan clients and how many entrepreneurs we're able to really support through working solutions. Here's a little bit of a breakdown. 75% of our clients are early stage businesses, and about 60% are startups. And then here's a little bit of our breakdown as far as our diverse populations that we're very, very committed to serving as well: entrepreneurs of color, women entrepreneurs, and low-income entrepreneurs. So although we support these three populations, of course, we accept applications from all of our communities. We are just particularly mindful of these three and of their limited opportunities to access capital. So here are some survival tips on how to kind of thrive. Again, our Working Solutions online resource guide is up. That's also available in Spanish. One of the things that I did forget to mention is that if you do know any other business owner, or you yourself are a business owner that has an ITIN number, we happily accept applications from ITIN holders, and are more than happy to work with anyone in that situation. So please do either share or come and check in with us. We're more than happy to continue to move forward with the process as well. Here, I think it's important to know, and I'm sure everybody's already doing it, is to reduce and minimize cash flow whenever possible. Apply for any public and private relief funds. And if you don't know how to access those or need support, not only coming to the chamber, but also there are plenty of business advisors through the Small Business Development Center that would be more than happy to help and walk you through that process. We work with a lot of the partners in our community that do a lot of the one-on-one with business owners. And so I'm happy to connect you with one of them. Begin considering how your business model could look after the shelter-in-place order lifted, right? Thinking about our future is always important. And I know there's a lot of things that are very uncertain right now, but keeping that at the forefront, I think, is healthy and a very good strategy. I think to us, it's very important. We're a very holistic group at Working Solutions, and we think about holistic health, right? Not just for our businesses, but for ourselves as individuals. Without our wellness, our businesses cannot thrive. And so, you know, making sure we're eating well, that we're getting good sleep, that we're exercising. And I think most of all that we don't forget to have joy and to have fun in our lives, no matter how hard things are right now, to try to be intentional with that. And I think that will spread not only to your family, but to your business and of course, to the communities that you're in a part of. So we are I'm kind of close to the end, but I definitely want to leave some time for questions. Pauline, I'm not sure if you'd like me. I'm going to check the chat myself, but I'm not sure if you'd like to facilitate this part.
We have a comment from Nicole. This is great sources of information for new businesses. Thank you for sharing all this great information. No questions, but feel free to unmute if you have a question for Ginelle.
Thank you, Nicole. Are there startup application costs, and does it depend upon the loan amount? So normally we would have a $50 application fee. Currently right now, the $50 application fee is being waived for both startup and early stage businesses. So there's currently no application fee. Prior to COVID, it was $50 though.
No, this is a wonderful resource.
I will share, there's a lender match. If you are interested in finding about other community financial institutions that you may want to do some research on before you move forward, there's a lender match on the SBA website. You can Google SBA and lender match, and what they do is they have a database of all their preferred SBA lenders, and you will complete kind of like a small questionnaire about who you are and what your needs are, and then they will match you with an approved SBA lender. And so if that's something that you're interested, not only will it give you a list of who all of those lenders are, and then you can kind of do your own research, go on their website, check them out. I certainly encourage you to do so. We have a lot of great testimonials on our page that I think would be great for others to watch and help make a decision about, you know, which CDFI is the best match for you, for example. So check that out as well. And then there's a lot of other predatory lender, kind of how to prevent and stay away from predatory lenders. There's guides out there and on the SBA website as well. That's a great resource. So I'm certainly happy to post some of those links here in the chat as well for you.
Karen, you had a comment? Nicole had a question. Are there any types of business you don't cover?
There are, in fact. Thank you so much for that question. One of them is the cannabis industry, and the other one is adult entertainment industry. So with the exception of those two industries, anything else we are able to fund.
Hi, Ginelle. Can you guys hear me? It's Karen Vandenberg.
I can. Hi, Karen.
Okay. Well, great presentation. I just wanted to say that we could probably talk offline. Community Bank of the Bay is also a CDFI bank, and for us, and we're SBA preferred lender, but for us to do something as small as you do is really, really difficult for us. We're not geared that way. So I think anytime that somebody comes to me, I have a great solution by referring them to you, and vice versa. When somebody graduates from, you know, your profile, that we could, you know, try and take care of them and still have them with the CDFI where they know that they're going to get that type of service.
Absolutely. It would be fantastic, Karen. Please reach out and we'll go from there.